This is going to show you solo GM with Spectral Blades and whether it's now usable in PvE, yes or no, after its buff that it got recently. Yes, it got buffed recently. So is it usable in PvE, yes or no? And I would say yes. 80% yes. Right? There is a little bit of doubts with the super. Not damage though. Damage is definitely not its weakness. Damage is its strength. Damage is its strength. Spectral Blades is doing massive damage now in PvE. And I can unanimously tell you that because I have a solo run. I have all the clips within that run showing you the damage it does against champions and stuff. Inverted Spider has Void Surge on, so that's what gave me the idea for this. So let's do part one of the video, which is the build. Now, I'm not going to go too in-depth into this because I want it to be sped up a little bit, but here's the build. Gambler's Dodge, Snare Bomb, Vortex Grenade, Aspects were Vanishing Step, Trapper's Ambush. Fragments was Echo of Cessation, Obscurity, Persistence, Starvation for Devour. We paired that with the exotic boot Star Eater skills. For a damage buff, we need to buff Spectral Blade's damage up more. Even though without Star Eater skills, he actually does sizable damage. But whenever you've got something good on a build, you want to buff it more. Magnify its strength. So what's Spectral Blade's strength right now? I just told you it's damage. So why not make it more? Rather than trying to be fancy with a tablecloth build of G-Wizened Vest, it's not good exotic. This has already been tested by me. It is not good. Why? Because it promotes no damage bonus. It promotes no damage bonus. It has a longer super regen thing going on, but Roving Assassin's not a good perk. I'm sorry, it's not a good perk. So Star Eater skills is the absolute pick for this. Right? Mods are on screen. I'm not going to go too in depth right now on what all those mods are. You can see them on screen. You know, it's pretty standardized. You know, it's not too complicated. But let's move on to weapons. So we got a Kinetic Tremor Scout for barrier champs, Velocity Baton for overloads, and for Feast of Light. Velocity Baton with Attrition Orbs is going to give us plenty of Feast of Light supers. That's exactly why I chose this weapon, right? And finally, Microcosm. So it's a kinetic weapon that sits in the heavy slot, which is a trace rifle. It's one of the best heavy weapons in the game. Now, Overcharged Weapon says this. Kinetic weapons do increased damage when your super element matches an active surge. We have done that with Spectral Blades. So Microcosm, if you match a surge, will get the buff. And Microcosm melts. It is one of the best heavy weapons in the game. And it's a super regen exotic. It's a super regen exotic. Because not only does it give super regen on kill, it gives increased super regen on sustained fire because it is a rapid fire type weapon. I know it's not a gun, it's a trace, but you get a lot of super regen off Microcosm. Are we all aware of this? You should be. So that is the build information about Spectral Blades. My hunter, he's from the future. He's a future war cult hunter. My hunters came from a different timeline. 2025 July, the game's fantastic. Apollo was launched. Eververse items are dropping for free as a rare drop from activity completion. Factions are back in the game. I chose to pledge with not New Monarchy. Not New Monarchy. Why would you do that? Future War Cult is what I pledged to for my weekly pledge, and I pledged to them in the future. So I don't have time to explain what you don't have to understand. Spectral Blade King reporting for duty. His loyal hunter servants has requested for Spectral Blade damage. Well then, here you go. Here it is. So we're going to deal with the Harpies first, as they just annoy the run at the start. We want to not be bothered by them whilst we deal with overloads and check damage, because that's exactly what my goal is here, is to get a super at some point at this starting section and try and kill at least 1 to 2 of the overloads. Because we can end up doing it that quickly where we don't even use our super, but I'm going to, you know, try and generate some super energy. So look at super left hand side, look at the massive damage, then we use Microcosm and look at the super regen intellect recharge rate we are getting there. Now we have a super. We basically have a super now. So what I'm going to do is try to build up ×6 Feast of Light. I do that by farming the goblins in mid. right? And I want my times 6 Feast of Light. Let's see what the damage is against these two overlords. Our goal is to kill both of them with one super. Here we go. Stun with GL. Then pop. We're doing 42k per strike. 42k per strike. Two overlord. I didn't even see the second overlord, did you? We killed both of them. That's some crazy damage. Alright, that is some crazy good damage and very fast. To be honest with you, we had the potential to kill all 3 overlords with one super. You have enough super intellect for it to last long enough to kill all 3 overlords, one super, providing you stun them first with the GL. That is just some crazy damage. There's very rare any other super that can replicate similar things. There are other things, you know. I know that Prismatic Titan can simulate all of this without a super. I know that, but that's not what this video is about, please. This is about Spectral Blades. This is about the Spectral Blade underlings. This is about those that requesting for damage numbers and reporting for duty. And that's exactly what this is. So we want to melt down the first Hydra. Whichever side it is, I'm not too fussed. I'm just going to use the Scout strat. The Scout and GL strat. Because we don't have super anyways, and it'd be pointless to farm one up. It would just be a time waste. We're going to end up using our super on the next phase for 2 barriers anyways. So all of this... all of this is just to get through the starting section. It's basically done at this point. Also, we can spam heavy because obviously if you saw my previous run on this, you'd seen that I found all 8 crates. There's 8 ammo crates in this. So I'm going to spam Microcosm a lot because it's just that good to do it. And bear in mind, we get a damage buff for Microcosm when our super ends. This is something I didn't really think about in the run until afterwards. I was like, oh wait, that's like really good, because obviously I use Microcosm usually on a Warlock. See, it's very good on actually it's exceptional on a Warlock, but what's the problem, people, with using it on a Warlock? If you use Song of Flame, you don't get the damage bonus until after Song of Flame ends. Now, Well of Radiance is different, but I'm about solo GMs now, and Song of Flame is better than Well. And I'm like, oh, that's something I forgot about, is that you get a damage bonus to Microcosm when your super ends. And it works well with Roman supers, because after a Roman super, what's happened? You probably are in a risk. So being able to pull out your trace and melt targets quicker is actually safer. The more remember, the more damage you have, the safer the run is. That's just how it is. Like, forget about playing defensive and offensive, which there is things to be said about that. But if you're playing that offensive to the point where you've got that many damage bonuses and debuffs, it doesn't matter about playing defensive, because all the adds are dead by that point, and then you are safe. The ultimate goal is to be safe in a room for all adds to be dead. Then you're on to the next room. So this defensive and offensive playstyle thing that people mention doesn't really exist in the game anymore because of the sandbox. Don't get me wrong, I can tap into the defensive playstyle any moment. I have gears. I can go into a defensive style play at any point. I have it in me, because that's what I had to do between 2017 to 2000. I would say up until Witch Queen, I had a defensive playstyle all the way up until Witch Queen. Then at Witch Queen, we turn on the offensive gameplay. Honestly, that's literally how it went. So this room, we're going to deal with the barrier at the back of the section first, because he just gets in the way. We want to pop super on barrier. That's what I want to do, because I don't want to use my super again until Riven phase. So this is a puzzle. Which parts should we super? What's the best parts to super? And right now is the best play to do. Because if we don't super now, we're sitting on it for too long. I have times 5. Okay, Feast of Light. So here we go. Spectral Blade King reporting for duty. Look at that. Backflip right off the cliff. And then we melt that damn barrier champ. That's doing so much damage. Seriously, it's doing very good damage. I know that I've got Star Rater scales on, but doesn't other supers have access to Star Rater scales as well? So don't judge it just because I've got Star Rater scales on and say, oh, well, you're running buffs and debuffs. It's got to be good, isn't it? Well, actually, no, because it wasn't good, was it? I'd done a solo GM with Spectral Blades. I think it was 4 weeks ago, maybe 5. And the super was not that good. It wasn't good enough. And what did I say in the video? I said it's still not good enough. right? Bungie buffed it again. They might have saw my video, maybe. Who knows if they know who I am or not? I'm not sure, but hey, they buffed it again. They saw and course corrected. Say, oh, it's still not good enough. Let's turn the dial up a little bit. And I think now, especially with star rated skills, the super does enough damage. It's doing enough damage. There's another weakness to the super. It's not damage, like I said, which I'm going to talk more about that as the run goes on. But let me just focus on this section. So we're going to spawn in the overlords. We don't kill barrier to the left in the cardboard box. Why? Because he's a nuisance and you don't need him for plat rank. He's wasting your ammo. He is wasting your time. Don't worry about that cabal on the left. So we can use him as cover, look. Now, I'm doing good damage here, but the overload ends up being a bit trolly. One of them. One of them ends up being a little bit trolly, but we are doing massive damage to both. I'm going to whip out Trace. We got the one. This overload's teleporting on the box. What is he doing? He doesn't even understand what he's doing. This guy is trolly, so we actually have to restun him up. But that's fine, because we've got Feast of Light times 6, and I want to use super on Rivens, not champs. Why? Because I've already showed you champ damage. I want to show you Riven damage, because Riven damage and champ damage are two different things. For one thing, they're different rank and file. You know, champions are different types of enemies to Rivens. So let's see what it does as a Riven super. Is it good on Rivens? So I'm going to do a little bit of chip damage because I didn't know how much damage that my super would do. But I didn't even need to do this, because watch. We pop super here. That Riven's melted. Okay, last Riven at full HP. Boom, he's dead before I could commentate on it. There we go. How good? What more do you want? How much more powerful do you want? Honestly, so let's talk about the super and what's not good about it. Hit reg. It can't track targets as good as we would hope. Don't get me wrong. If there's champs on the floor, it's good. It's a good ground super, right? It's good as a grounded super against stationary targets, right, on the ground. But any targets in the air, you're doomed. You can't track them. You can't track them. And for whatever reason, say you want to do light, jump, light, jump, light. You know, when you jump in the air, then you do a light swing. If you want to do that, it's also not good for that either. So you can't use, there's no verticality to the super, which there should be. This should be the most mobile super in the game. It's Spectral Blades. It's the Arc Blade Hunter from Destiny 1, but it's the Void variant of it. If anyone remembers the Blade Dancers from Destiny 1. That's what this is, but it's just a Void version. That's all it is, right? It's a Void version of that. So it should be the most mobile super. It should have intrinsic blink. It should have all sorts, right? And the hit reg needs fixed because they used to be good. The hit reg used to be good on this super, so much so that they had to nerf it because of PvP. So it's PvP's fault. This blame the PvP players. It's their fault that the hit reg on this super is bad. Although I'm only joking, they were probably right to complain about how strong it was all those years ago in 2018. But that was a long time ago. Why are we still getting penalised for that? I'm not bothered. I'm not a PvP player. I just want this super to be good hit reg. PvE. That's all I'm asking for. And PvE, to be fair, is more of the game than what PvP is. And always will be at this point. So, yeah, they need to do another buff to Spectral Blades for hit reg. They don't need to give it any more damage. You know, I don't think they do. I think the damage is balanced about right, you know. If they go any further with it, then it's going to be no contest, right? Although there's always a time to run tether and stuff, yes. But I'm just saying Roman super damage-wise, there's no contest. And we don't want to be too much in that situation. It could go, the dial can easily go the other way. I don't think he's realised how much power Bungie has over the stats. They are in charge of the sandbox. You're not in charge of it. They have access to all dials. They can do what they want. They could buff supers by times 10 if they want it. They can do whatever they want. They are the gatekeepers. You are not. I am not either. I'm just here to ask for things sometimes. That's it. But I'm sure that a lot of people ask for stuff on Reddit as well, which people spam on Reddit on what they want. Much more than what I ever do in terms of what I ask. I don't ask for stuff on Reddit. But you know what I'm saying. So, is the super good on these ultra Rivens? Because, right, let's compare this to other subclasses. How many times do I melt both Rivens with one super? That's a quiz question for you. Is there any super I've used in Inverted Spire over the last few weeks that has melted both Rivens in one super? Any super at all, mention it. Because I'm not sure of one. Look at the melt on the first one. I'm a loyal little hunter and I'm eager to get that second Riven. There we go. Boom. I still had a third of my super left. I could have melted another Riven. It's the super killing Riven super. That's what that is. So that was incredible. That's Feast of Light as well. But that's exactly what I'm saying. This is Grandmaster difficulty. Let me remind you. This is not Strike. This is Grandmaster difficulty. I am quite high in power, yeah. I'm probably 3 power level higher than usual. The usual is a minus 25 delta. This right now for me is a minus 22 delta. So I am getting the damage bonus. Don't make no mistake about that. You do get a little bit of more damage. It creeps up number by number the higher your level is. It caps out at 2030, which I'm 2028 now, approaching 2029. So yeah, my damage is going to be artificially a little bit more, but only a little bit. If I ran this at 25 delta, i.e. 2025 power, the damage would be very similar and it would do everything that I needed to do, i.e. solo one cycle champs, which ultimately that's what the goal of the super is to do. So this section, right, let's see how good we do against the plate section. And in actual fact, this is very good subclass for this. Why? Because we can go invis. So we've actually got 2 playstyles going on here. I've got an invis build, right, whilst having all the damage in the world. So I can actually play defensively, like I was saying earlier, but for a different reason. To play defensively to cap a plate, right? So we can control adds a little bit better on plates as opposed to any other class, just using a super or whatever. That excludes Prismatic Titan, of course. I know that what Prismatic can do. I know because I've done runs with it. I know all about it. But anyways, let's deal with this barrier first. Feast of Lights times 6. Let's melt in with Microcosm. Look at my ammo capacity. I'm at, what am I at? 200 and I've been spamming it. So I'm on a very good ammo count right now. I am approaching, the cap points, which notoriously in Inverted Spire, this is where you will run out of ammo because there's no crates. There is not another crate until the next section. So you've got to manage your ammo. My special ammo is very low because I have spammed it. But it's enough to get by. And we do get enough special. There we go. We've got a special brick. So invisible finisher kills. Makes us go invis. We can cap the plate. We can then also control fanatics and supplicants. Easier. Look. Get a nade. Then immediately dodge. That kills them all. I'm invis. Ready for the overload. I'm going to pop super on him. Because that's my goal. I don't want to use super to defend the plate. I want to use super to kill the champ and all the adds to play a bit more aggressive. So do you see how we flipped there from defensive play to offensive right away? Turned it on when we needed to. When all the adds had spawned in. Look. See how the offensive player has then cleared the room. I'm now safe because there's nothing alive. Yeah? So I hope we understand the concept of what I'm trying to tell you about the defensive slash offensive playstyle thing. How you can switch it on between, defense and offense. But do it to benefit you so that when you do go offensive, you have spawned in more enemies so that you can get more ad killing potential. Because ultimately, that's another thing as well. A lot of people don't do offensive play properly because they don't know their ad spawns. If you don't know your ad spawns, then how the hell are you going to be efficient at killing? You're not efficient. I see so many people in LFG runs, right? They'll pop the supers at the wrong time. They're doing it all wrong. And I can only just imagine and envisage what they would be like in a solo. They'd be panic supering. They would be using it. They would be doing everything wrong. Nothing will be textbook. And I like textbook. In order to achieve textbook status in a GM, you have had to have studied and done your homework. Guardian, do your homework. Don't be one of these that doesn't want to do homework. I hate Guardians like that. Get your textbooks out. Read. Think about where the enemy spawns are. What happens. And then, once you have that in your mind, it's like, oh, this champ spawns here, that champ spawns there. Look at what the super's doing here. Not only did I kill Overload, I killed everything else. Then I capped plate. So yeah, once you know the broader level of what you're doing across the whole GM, then you can strategize your supers better. And when you don't need one, and when you do. And with inverted SPIRE, it's kind of important. Now I'm on a Roman super, so I'm getting the ×3 buff, as you can see left hand side. Look, I've just used my super. I'm getting it back. Now my goal is to get super back and collect Feast of Light, and to collect. Look at the orbs on the floor. We get super. I've probably got 6 orbs there. I don't know. I can't see exactly because this damn Centurion is being annoying. Once we kill him, let's have a look at what orbs. So do you see now I'm strategizing not only super but orbs, so that we can super back to back to back. So we've supered every plate now, and we're going to super this plate and see what damage we do to the Hydras, because the Hydras are tanky. Make no mistake. Let's see. Damage, damage, damage. What's that? I can't even see the damage numbers, Gary. You'd have to pause it and slow it down. I can't even see. Look at that. One Hydra killed, and the second we're doing damage to him. That's such good damage. That's better than any like Sunbreaker Titan super, Fist of Havocs. I don't know if it's better than Raiden Flux though, because you know the Raiden Flux babe. You know that I'm king with the Raiden Flux build and all that stuff. So I don't know if I can call it better than Raiden Flux. You know, because there's benefits to Raiden Flux that this super doesn't have. You know, Raiden Flux can stun champs. Can this one? It can't. It has to rely on weapons. But the damage is there. It absolutely is. So same thing again. We're farming our super off the second Hydra. Okay. And we want orbs. I'm going to go invis and pick the orbs up. Yes, I could have run powerful attraction. But I didn't want that on because I'm using double bomber. And I'm using prox ward. On a finisher kill, we get overshield. This prox ward will prevent death on finishers. I know that we go invis anyways, but that doesn't matter. You can still die on invis kill because the enemies surrounding you will track your last known location. So if you get hit with a load of splash damage and you're weakish, even if you go invis, you will still die because you're weak. So that's what I'm saying is the prox ward confirms finisher kills and allows you to basically be immortal. You can't die in a finisher when you've got prox ward on. It is very, very, very unlikely, unless you know you had that many enemies around you that you just did die right after it. Yes, but for the most part, 99% out of 100, you will not die in a prox ward finisher. And this applies to every single subclass. So prox ward is a very powerful toolkit to use for lesser skilled players who maybe don't want to mess around with powerful attraction. There's only so many builds that benefit from powerful attraction anyways, to be honest. That's my take. Like, I'm a powerful attraction user, but I don't find myself spamming it like some players spam it. Like they think it's the best perk going. It's not the best perk going. It's just a accessibility perk. That's all it really is. You know, I'm old fashioned. I'll go and pick them up. I'll go and pick up them. I mean, I've got invis to go and quickly pick them up. Are you that lazy to not go and pick up your own orbs? You know what I'm saying? So it's just play style differences. That's all it really is. With the powerful attractions and stuff. But yeah, for most players trying to solo GM, and you never have, prox ward needs to go on. You need to pop that on alongside either double bomber or double outreach, depending on what you're doing, depending on what your build is. In this case, we want more nades. On Void Hunter, you want to buff your nade as much as possible because Void Hunter hasn't got much offensive gameplay, has it? Well, to enhance it a little bit, because yes, you can do that with builds. To do that, you need to put the bombers on. You need to think about nade. Okay, buff up that nade as much as. Now I know that I've got a tier 10 discipline on, and I'm not running the debuff fragment, but it doesn't matter, does it? Because I've got debuff with my GL. So that means I can get even more nades. That's exclusive to this season. So we are literally just running around and dealing with this section. We're on 21 minutes, which is average for any run. Any run at all I was on right now, the average time for an average subclass in this would be about 20 minutes. I'll probably finish this section for 22 minutes. So it's keeping up with average times. It's not lagging behind is what I'm trying to say. It's not lagging behind. In actual fact, it's done very well as Spectral Blades. Very well. I would say, I'll give you 2 ratings. So the first rating is, how has Spectral Blades done up until the final boss? I would give it a good 9 out of 10. The points against it is that you can't stun an overload or any champs while you're in your super, so that it loses a point for that. But for damage, it hasn't lost any points. It's doing fantastic damage. However, when we get to the final boss, I'll change that rating from a 9 out of 10 to something different, because there's a problem. There's a mini problem. And it's not so much, it's partly because of Spectral Blades and it's partly not. There's 2 factors at play with the boss at Inverted Spire, which I'll get into when we get to that point. So supplicants, we just run around and make sure that they die. They are a 1 KO. Do not underestimate supplicants in this ever. They are very dangerous. They're the most threat in this. The biggest threat to you is a supplicant. Bigger threat than a champ, definitely, because you can hide from champs easy. Supplicants you can't hide from. They chase you for ages. So we need to get that overload, because I know there's an overload. There we go. There he is. So I'm going to push up. We're going to get another GL shot before we use super to confirm kill. Look at the damage. We had 75% super left after 1 super. After 1 super. So if you had a teammate stunning all the overloads, let's say in theory there was 5 overloads, and you had a teammate stunning all the overloads for you, you could kill 5 overloads back to back with this super. Look, we've got paracausal imbuement. Look at watch the damage. Left hand side, left hand side. That is so good damage. Unbelievable, honestly. Like, I don't know, it's just so good. Unbelievable damage, that. So yeah, if you could spawn in 5 overloads in a testing hall, say we had a testing hall and you could do that, Spectral Blades could kill all 5 with 1 super, providing that all of them were stunned by somebody else. Or if you could round them up and somehow get a GL shot, that's the damage it has. I'm not trolling you at all with it. It has the crazy amount of damage, but the issue is the hit reg. That's where it falls down, is the hit reg. If they was to sort out the hit reg on this, I feel as though you would see a lot more Void Hunter mains using this. Because a lot of Void Hunter mains, you know, they're running an invis build to carry. A lot of them are Sherpas. Don't forget about that as well. A lot of Void Hunter mains are Sherpas and they do a lot of good for the community. So don't be trolling on Void Hunters too much. And, you know, start telling them to run Prismatic and stuff. Look, they're Sherpaing. Sherpaing skills is completely different to anything that you can imagine if you've never Sherpaed. You know, they're running Graviton builds or Omnioculus or whatever it might be. Right? Now, there's nothing stopping those Sherpa players running this, Spectral Blades. But again, it's GM dependent. Spectral Blades would cook better in other GMs with more suitable bosses. Right? Now look at that meld there from Microcosm for such a range. But yeah, it's not Spectral Blade's fault for the damage that I do at the final boss. It's partly that and it's partly the boss. Because the boss has also bad hit reg. For everything, by the way, it's not just a Spectral Blade problem. You try and super the boss's legs, your super goes through his legs. You nutmeg him. If anyone plays football and understands that, you go through his legs. Right? That's with any super at all that's sort of CQC based. You've got to jump up and hit his midsection to make sure that you get good damage on him. Whereas his legs, this has been a problem with this particular boss since they ever created him in 2017. So it's always been a problem. There's a heavy ammo crate here. That's why I've been spamming ammo. So we'll go to the next plate. This is just the final overload, a Hydra to deal with. Now I'm not going to use super because I've got Feast of Light stacks. I want those Feast of Light stacks for the final boss. If I do my super now, I'm going to lose my stacks, aren't I? Which means I've got to refarm it up, which is not efficient. So what I'm going to do is melt down this Hydra, melt down the Overload, and we're going to go invis past the Cyclopses. So I can play defensively and just bypass it all, of course, because it's a time waste. I don't really know why they've added Cyclopses here. I think what they should have done is made you have to deal with the Cyclopses then. There should be an invisible wall at the boss saying, no, you can't, you've got to kill the Cyclopses. What's the point in putting them there? It is interesting that they've put Cyclopses there like that, but what's the point in it? Everyone's skipping it. And I don't like to see people skip things that, you know, for what? For what point? There's an ammo crate behind me, but I don't need it. There it is, because I've got a banner to go to. So what's the point in picking it up? See, that's what I'm saying is, like, when Bungie adds a mechanic, they need to force it upon the player that you've got to deal with it. But please don't make it that whatever you've introduced is ridiculous. You know, having Cyclopses here isn't too ridiculous. It's interesting. They've never done this before in this fashion, but nobody's engaging with this part of this part of the GM. So I'm questioning, what's the point in it? What's the point if people are just doing what I'm doing now? Because there's no point. That comes back to scores. Why are scored Nightfalls not in the game anymore? And you're going to say, well, they are. Look at your bottom right hand corner, 1.2 times 177492. So what? What does this score have anything to do with platinum rewards? What does this why is there no in-game leaderboards? Give us in-game leaderboards. I'll be the best score. I'll be top 10. I'll strive to be. Give us in-game leaderboards. Then people will start going for scored GMs. Tie Eververse items to scores as an ultra rare drop. Right, as an ultra rare drop, that is. You know, you're getting a new exotic ship for this. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, is it a good ship? If it is, there's a little incentive, rather than having to buy them or use bright engrams. So look at this. Look at this damage here. See, we're nutmegging him. We're a football. We're going through his legs, constant. That's good for football, but not Destiny 2. So the damage was really good as well, and we missed half of my swipes. If I had hit all my swipes there, in theory, I would guess that we'd probably do more than half of the first bar. So that would be about 20% HP to this boss. This boss has a lot of HP now. He got buffed. I think people forget. He got buffed. He used to be very weak. He's not as weak as he was. He's got a lot more HP now. Okay, so we are trying to deal some chip damage. Also farming up super. Look at all these orbs. We get stomped here. That's fine. See there? Concussive dampener saved us there. Well, it didn't save us, but it didn't even break my shields. I can tell you right away, without concussive dampener, I would have had my shields broke there. Wouldn't have made a difference, but I'm just pointing out how strong concussive dampener is and why you should always use this. Because concussive dampener covers a wide range of damage resistance in Destiny 2. So the mod does more for you than what melee resist does. It covers more ground, right? Sniper resist does nothing in the game, apart from what it says on the tin. But it's not enough. Because if you're playing up close, what's the point in it? And in today's sandbox, generally we play a little closer to the odds nowadays. Even on long range builds, we're still fighting 10 meters closer than what we used to. Right? So like, sniper resist, no. Forget about it. Melee resist, only on prismatic titans, maybe. But even then I still run concussive. So always run concussive. Always be aware of it. Now, I've got Fist of Light ×6. I've got my super. I'm managing my ammo. I'm going to do a bit of microcosm to speed up this damage a little bit. Now look at the amount of damage microcosm done there. It done quite a bit, but not as much as what my spectral blades did. That's a point of reference for you. And microcosm is known to be a good boss damage dealer, right? So in theory, spectral blades is doing huge amounts of damage now if you're building and speccing it properly. If you run G-Wisdom Twist, that is your fault as a hunter, right? That is your fault trying to be tablecloth. Now, look, you can test G-Wisdom Twist in lost sectors and you know, try and get a feel of the playability with it. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that, but when you're trying to do a solo GM, buff your damage up. That is the meta. If there was ever a meta for solo GM, it's damage. Everything's damage, but I'm saying that, look, we have a house of cards, don't we? With builds. You can play defensive, offensively, or you can do fancy things. What I'm saying to you is the meta is not to do fancy things. The meta is damage, 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 kill, annihilate. That is what the meta is. It is not tablecloth builds. Okay? It's not, you know, trying to do fancy things too much. You can do fancy things, but you need to know the basics first. Master the basics. Recognize that the basics will get you further than anything else because it allows you to play more aggressive. The more basic a build is, the better it is for you. Just take a note of who soloed Onslaught first. Does anyone remember? Was he French or Italian? That guy, he ran a very basic build. He didn't even run anything that good. Gallahorn, Indebted Kindness, and some other weapon, I can't mind. He didn't run anything special. He was the first in the world to solo Onslaught. That's an example showing you that, look, he didn't run no tablecloth build. He ran damage and support and common sense, backed up with sheer will and desire to do the activity. Right? I don't care who you are, but if your will and drive isn't there, you're not getting anywhere. You're not going to go anywhere with it, really, because you haven't got any will, drive, or desire. You just want to be a D2 mathematician. So you should apply for D2 mathematician jobs like what I advertise for regularly. You can be my D2 mathematician for me, and you can give me the number. I'll do the solos. I'm the field operative. You just give me the numbers, and that's it. Now look at this goblin. He's stuck in the build. I've never seen this before. The goblin's actually stuck in the pillar. That's the first time. There's a first for everything. So this was starting to slow down on this run a little bit. Plate 2, we lost a good chunk of time. Just because we can't do sustained damage to the boss. Because he wrecks you. So, and the super, it did do decent damage for me. But same thing again, hit reg. So we're losing damage because of hit reg, not because of damage itself. Even with microcosm, look, we can't do the damage we want. Look, he's melting us. Shields are almost broke. They break, I have to rotate. So do you see now where we can't do what we want to on this plate just because we have to do map rotation. And I killed every wave of ad, which didn't work out bad because it actually gave us plenty of ammo for plate 3. But I'm just saying I'm having to do a little bit more. Look at this. So we pop super. We had to pop super there, which we went in Viz as well. And now we're going to do super. So we don't have any Feast of Light here. So, yeah, I couldn't really do my damage because it's just missing him. But I can tell you, like, look at the damage difference. I didn't do any damage when I did hit because I didn't have any Feast of Light. And that's where it comes back to, look, if you don't have Feast of Light, you're going to do less damage, which means more phases, which means more risk. Less damage, more risk. Because you're playing around with the combatants for far longer than what you need to. Everything's a lot more unnecessary. You're having to do dancing around because you didn't have damage from something because you're not using the right build or whatever it might be. I'm using the right build and I still suffered. I suffered because of hit reg. Like I said to you. So as long as you're understanding now of the hit reg thing and this boss and the issues with this boss, then we can move past it. So we're going to take advantage of a finisher invis here, and we are looking for special ammo. I'm looking for special ammo. Now I'm going to try and kill with the trace, because I'm more likely to get a special brick with my heavy weapon kills. We got Feast of Light ×3. Now I'm unsure if I'm going to use it on the boss or the ads, because I think I end up using it on the boss. Just to get my super out. I think I do, I can't remember. Let's do our chip damage. Only 2 GL shots left. Heavy ammo's quite healthy though, I must admit. So microcosm doing very good for ammo in this. That's what I found. Even though it's a weapon that you spam, it is. You can chew through microcosm ammo very fast. But because it does that much damage, it saves ammo itself because of how much... Because you don't need to use it as much as you need, as other heavies. So it sort of saves ammo itself, if that makes sense, because at most you're using a mag at a time, which is a quarter of the reserves maximum, which is 400. So if you're only using 100 bullets, or sorry, 100 trace rifles every, what, 3-4 minutes, that's not bad ammo economy. That's actually very good. But you need kinetic scavenger on. Okay, you must run kinetic scav with this. I don't see why you wouldn't run kinetic scav, because it's gonna save your ammo so much more. Like, it means you can spam it more as a result. So make sure you run kinetic scav. So we're down to our last GL shot. We've got some orbs though. We'll use the trace here. Which are on the final goblin here. There's some harpies up above me though. Get a nice finisher. So the finisher kill fragments start to come in power now, you see. Whereas at the start of the run, well, all the way up into the farm boss, it's all aggressive, aggressive, aggressive. But I put the finisher fragment on as a supplement invis support fragment for the final boss, because I knew at times getting a finisher kill is actually very useful to the build, because we've got a semi invis build on, haven't we? We haven't got a fully spec invis build on. All right, it's trapper's ambush and the sidestep, right, which gives you plenty of invis, but it's not 100 mobility or anything, so it's not graviton forfeit. But to enhance it is just to run a finisher fragment. All of a sudden, you've turned your invis uptime from 50% to like 80%. All simply because of applying one fragment. This starts to simulate graviton forfeit gameplay without having to use graviton forfeit, whilst having the upside of having a Star Eater scale super. See what I'm saying? So see how we're building, crafting the build, fine-tuning it like a car, right, on exactly where we want to build into and where not to build into. It's not just a case of build crafting, it's a case of fine-tuning each element exactly. And the only way you can do that is to understand all of the fragments that are available. It's like a deck of cards. You need to know every single card, right? And what it looks like for you to play the game. Same thing with fragments. You need to know every single aspect of the build that you're running to then pick the right one for you for whatever you're doing, and then you can fine tune that build to what parts that you need. Do you get it? So that's what I'm saying with the whole build crafting thing. So I do build crafting. I just roll my eyes at all the videos I see, and it does piss me off about them. But I do it, but I do it properly without over exaggerating stuff. Okay, so now we're rounding up all the enemies to use a super, because it's a good super pop here to just do that. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. So my goal is to clear out all the grounded enemies, right? Might even do some boss damage, right? Just a little bit, every little helps, I suppose. Then we're going to run away. We have overshield as well, with Star Rated skills, which is saving us. The harpies, we'll deal with those. They were a bit of a problem to the run a little bit, because I don't have a machine gun on. The trace does make short work of them. By all means it does though. I must admit you can kind of use microcosm as sort of like a high powered machine gun type deal, in the sense that it plays a similar role to a machine gun for ad clear, but the bonus to microcosm is that it does far more damage than what a machine gun would do. I don't think any machine gun would keep up with, apart from Grand Overture, yes. Grand Overture, yeah. But apart from that, you know, there's no machine gun keeping up with microcosm. So yeah, look, it does do good damage as well. You can also fight on this small island here. It's actually quite nice, which is actually interesting. So let's finish off these two harpies, because they're the last of the harpies. I don't believe there's any more harpies. The final phase is just fanatics. Oh, we got a heavy ammo brick. Boom, 142. That's actually very healthy. Full special now. So now we can get on with the final phase. I have Feast of Light ×2, so we're going to make some orbs. And I'm going to make sure that I can go in Viz and pick up the orbs. That's exactly what I'm going to do here. We'll dodge to get our smoke back. Okay, so now we're just doing more chip damage. When we get the boss's HP down to the letter P, that is when the boss's head will break off. So we'll have a super to use. I've got plenty of ammo to deal with all the fanatics. There's not many fanatics neither. There's like 3 waves of them that spawn top left, top right, back behind you. So there's not much. It's not that threatening, to be honest, these final phase. It's the boss mainly. But if you know how to control the boss, then you're good. You just need to keep map rotating between the 2 pillars, which I'm going to show you now. Well, you should know really by now. How many times have I showed Inverted Spire at this point? Look, so fanatics behind us, they need to be killed first because they can hit me in the back. Then what we're going to do is go invis immediately, have a cool off period. Then we'll start doing a bit more GL shots. I was going to super, but I'll super when all the fanatics are dead. I may as well at this point. Okay, 1 fanatic left. Let's make sure that we get a debuff and we're going to super the boss. He's went into mid. That's fine. Just use the pillar. Once it's a good opportunity, we'll go with our super. He's jumped out of that GL shot somehow. He's debuffed them. 28k per strike. But look, see, 4, 5, 6 strikes were lost. And I still had some super left. So that's really good damage. Just again, it's the hit reg that's going against it. And this boss has bad hit reg as well. So it's double hit reg problems. Double. Now we use microcosm because we've got damage buff, look, left hand side. That's doing really good damage there, seriously. That's a lot. Finish the boss off with GL shots. But yeah, that was the Spectral Blades run. To be honest, as I say, it worked out a lot better than what I didn't think this run was going to be that good. But once I tested damage and realised, oh, it will be, then I was motivated to do a run on it. But that was a run on Inverted Spire with Spectral Blades. Solar GM, hope you enjoy. Thank you.